Leasing. Leasing, also known as financial leasing, is a form of financing that allows a company or individual to use an asset, such as equipment, a vehicle, or machinery, without having to purchase it immediately. Instead of paying the full cost of the asset, a periodic payment, usually monthly, is made over an agreed period. How does leasing work? A financial institution or leasing company acquires the asset and leases it to the user for a specified period. The user pays a series of installments during that period, and at the end of the contract, they generally have the option to purchase the asset, renew the lease, or return it. Who is involved in the leasing process? There are two parties involved in leasing. Lessor acquires the asset, following the instructions of the lessee, and grants its use to the lessee for a specified period of time. Lessee is the company or individual who contracts the lease. You are required to pay the installments during the term of the contract, as well as to choose whether or not to acquire it. Advantages of leasing: lower initial investment, you don't have to pay the full value of the asset upfront. Better cash flow management, installments are usually fixed and predictable. Technological upgrades, allows access to new equipment or vehicles without worrying about obsolescence. Tax benefits, in some cases, installments may be tax deductible. Disadvantages: total cost, in the long run, it can be more expensive than purchasing the asset. Commitment, you are tied to periodic payments during the contract period. Ownership, the company does not own the asset until it exercises the purchase option, if applicable. Types of leasing: 1. Financial lease, or long-term lease. This is similar to a loan with a purchase option. The company leases the asset for a long period, usually between 3 and 10 years. At the end of the contract, the company usually has the option to purchase the asset by paying a residual value. The monthly payment is usually higher, but it allows the company to keep the asset if it wishes. This is useful for acquiring durable goods such as machinery, vehicles, or technological equipment. 2. Operating lease, or short or medium-term lease. This works more like a long-term rental, with lower risk for the lessee. The term is usually shorter, for example, 1 to 5 years. It includes additional services such as maintenance, insurance, and technical support. The company usually does not have the option to purchase the asset at the end of the contract, it simply returns or renews it. It is ideal for assets that quickly become obsolete, such as technological equipment or frequently used vehicles. 3. Leaseback, a company sells an asset, such as equipment, real estate, or a vehicle, to a financial institution or leasing company and then leases it back through a leasing agreement. In other words, the company becomes the lessee of the same asset it just sold. How does it work? 1. The company owns an asset that needs liquidity or wants to release capital without losing its use. 2. It sells it to a financial institution or leasing company. 3. It then signs a lease agreement to continue using the asset, paying periodic installments. 4. At the end of the contract, it may have the option to purchase the asset, renew the lease, or return it, depending on the agreed terms. Practical example: suppose a construction company has a piece of land it wants to sell to raise funds, but needs to continue using it for its projects. It then sells the land to a financial institution and immediately signs a leaseback agreement to continue using the land by paying regular installments. This way, it obtains liquidity without losing use of the land. For furniture leasing, this is a contract in which a leasing company provides you with furniture and equipment, such as desks, chairs, shelves, tables, etc., for a specified period, in exchange for regular payments. At the end of the contract, you can choose to renew, return the furniture, or, in some cases, purchase it if you wish. You can renew or replace the furniture according to the needs of your business or space. 5. Real estate leasing. This is a contract in which a financial institution or lessor provides you with a property, such as a storefront, office, or home, for you to use for a specified period by paying regular installments. At the end of the contract, you generally have the option to purchase the property, renew the lease, or return it, as agreed. Practical example 1. Suppose a company needs a fleet of vehicles for its operations. Instead of purchasing the cars, it decides to enter into a financial lease with a bank or a leasing company. The entity purchases the cars and leases them to the company for, say, 5 years. The company pays monthly installments during that period. At the end of the contract, the company can choose to purchase the cars by paying a residual value, renew the lease, or return the vehicles. Practical example 2: Agricultural machinery leasing. An agricultural cooperative needs modern machinery to increase its production. Instead of purchasing the machinery, which would be very expensive, it signs a 7-year financial leasing contract. The cooperative pays monthly installments that cover the use of the machinery. During this time, it can deduct these installments from its taxes, depending on local legislation. At the end of the contract, it can purchase the machinery by paying a residual value, which is generally lower than the original price, or return it and renew the lease with new machinery. This method allows the cooperative to use modern machinery without a large initial investment and maintain its cash flow. Important considerations. Contract terms: it is essential to carefully review the clauses, such as residual value, penalties for early termination, and who is responsible for maintenance and insurance. In short, leasing is a useful tool for financing assets without a large initial investment, allowing companies to maintain their liquidity and access updated technology or equipment. However, it is important to carefully analyze the terms and costs before opting for this option.